Hi everyone. We're going to talk about the plants that we have here and the reason why they're here. So there's different categories of plants, and one of them, if you want to start, Ari, by introducing the native grasses and why they're important, and maybe we can pick one and you talk about it.
Okay. All right, so why don't we pick the state grass? Our state grass is called purple needle grass. And here's an example of it. And if you look at the blooms, when they first come out, they look like purple needles, and then the sun kind of bleaches them out. I don't know if you can see that, but that's where it gets its name. And so these plants, we have clusters of 3, and they're already throwing their seeds, which means that, you know, this is all going to be populated in a natural grassland. And the cool thing about the native bunch grass is this is a perennial grass, which means it lives for many years, and it has very deep roots. So maybe the roots on this plant may be that deep. And that actually brings water down into the rhizome, which is what we really want. We want to really make sure that the water is penetrating and, you know, reaching out to all the other plants in the garden.
Cool.
So the purple needle grass is really important for that, and all the native grasses are really important for that. Okay,
So and then another category of plants we can say are the perennial food plants. So you already heard what a perennial plant is. It's a plant that lives for many years. One good example are the fruit trees. Everyone knows that a fruit tree, you plant it once and it grows for many years, right?
yeah, here's a clementine, for example, a nice little orange-like citrus fruits that the kids love. So that's going to be producing a lot of fruit here for the families.
And then there's other plants that are not fruit trees that can be vegetable perennial foods. So instead of being a fruit tree that only yields fruits once a year, you have a vegetable that grows year-round and you can always harvest it. So what's an example of that, Ari?
Well, this area right here, you see how it sort of mounds up? So we took a lot of care to build the soil up here, so there's layers of compost and soil, and our compost from our garden in San Jose. And so these are perennial food plants, which means they're going to grow here and they're going to produce a lot of food for a long time. And one of our favorites is something called tree collard. And this is probably going to get about 6 or 8 feet tall, and we're going to be able to harvest this plant every day for many years. And we only have to plant it once. It's a little different than spinach, right? Mm-hmm. And yet it gives even more nutrient value than spinach does. And then right next to it is a native edible plant. This is native to our Santa Clara County grassland, and it's a wild onion, single-leafed onion they call it. And so, you know, you can cut these off and eat them just like you would a green onion from a farm stand. So there's an example of a native edible and a superfood perennial that are growing in the grassland.
Yep. And
that's what we want to be able to teach the kids and the parents, that hey, you can completely restore the grassland and you can grow all this food that takes very little energy and produces a lot of food for many years.
And my final thought on that is that the main reason why it's very important and empowering to grow perennial food is because of how little effort it takes. You know, these plants, you will just plant it once and harvest it for years. And there's many more like this one that I'm sure we'll learn more about. But yeah, that's the main reason why. If you are thinking, wow, yeah, but making a garden, you know, it takes so much effort and, you know, things die and blah, blah, blah. Perennial foods are so much more efficient, and once they're there, they're there. They're not likely to, you know, have any trouble. So plant your perennials and be healthy.
I want to point out something else right here. Sylvester, you can get close up maybe and show this grass. But one of the cool things about it is this is another native grass. This is a fescue grass. And you see how it's close to some of these perennial foods? And so because it's bringing its roots way deep, it's going to help this plant get more water. because it's penetrating our local soils, because this plant evolved here in Santa Clara County as a species. So it has this, you know, long history with the soils here. And our knowledge of that is going to help us grow this plant to even produce more food and to get bigger and not get disease and not have to use any chemicals to support the life of that plant.
Yep.
Okay?